Hi all. We're building a cruising sailboat. I can't not say that. A couple of things to tell you about this week, and the first of them is what I'm leaned upon here, which are these hardwood caps, and I'm in the process of putting around the tops of the forward bulwarks here. Got them epoxied in place, black locust caps, bent round to shape, as you can tell, and I'm just in the process of planing them up, getting them flush here, shaping them a bit. They'll have a little bit of take the sharp corners off. I've put some bronze nails down through there. I didn't really just want to rely on the epoxy glue to the end grain of the ply, so I've decided to put some bronze ring nails down through there. I've sunk them, and I'll just put a little bit of filler over top of that, and then once it's shaped up, coat of epoxy and varnish. It should be tricky, but I have to mask up around here, and anyhow, looking quite nice. Goes forward there, not quite shaped at the forward end, but it covers up everything that wasn't particularly pretty at the front end. Coming on well, I think. Pleased with that, and I'll say shaping this side, it's coming up nice and flush. Looking quite good.
When is that?
Ring. But there you go, it is. So now I'm using it.
Yeah. Okay. What do you say?
Okay. Right, there you go from there.
You can do one first, yeah.
It's not bad, is it? I've done. The other thing that's been going on is quite a big project in, well really it's the start of a big project. It's the start of the Lazarette engine room installations. Quite a bit going on, and as you might imagine, quite difficult to film. So I've got a diesel tank. Perhaps Kerry you can look down, that's good. Hopefully you can see that diesel tank sat there. 55 litre diesel tank, which I'm putting in place there. Now Mr. Benford specifies 2 tanks, under one each side, under here and under here, for diesel, and bigger, but that's another discussion. But the tanks, to fit them in position, they need to be custom made tanks, and that's possibly beyond my budget, so I've gone for off-the-shelf tanks. And he also specifies a holding tank down there in the Lazarette. So I've sort of compromised. I'm fitting the diesel tank sort of in the position where the holding tank goes. No diesel tanks there. You remember I've got a day tank in here as well, which brings us up to another 25 litres. So it brings us up to 80 litres in tanks. Then I'll have jerry cans for the rest. Diesel tank going in that position where the holding tank goes. But whilst I'm at that, if I drop down here and pull this out, you will see, as is so often the case with boats. Let's just return to the diesel tank for a moment. This engine, the 2010 MD 2010 Volvo Penta, burns approximately 1 litre an hour. So the 80 litres I've got on board, clearly enough for in the region of 80 hours of motoring, which is, in my opinion, plenty. It's a sailboat. But I will have some jerry cans as well. So that's fine for me in terms of diesel tankage. I know other people like more tankage. In our previous sailboat we had much less. Also a small Volvo engine and a much smaller tank, and it was fine. So I'm perfectly happy with that. What I was going to say was that, as is so often the case with boats, you don't just work on one project because it's all so close together that things are sort of intertwined, shall we say. So what we've got down here, if I drop down in and carry you, attempt to film this, it's a bit of a wriggle to get in here. There we go. There we go. Can you see anything, Kerry?
Yeah, kinda.
Sort of. Well, if you remember, the engine bed fitting, I said that I wanted to go for a belt and braces approach, and I've got these metal mounts that will be bolted firmly to the boat as well. So this is the aft engine mount that will have a plate running from it to the framework of the boat, just to prevent any danger of that engine bed moving, which I really do not want it to move. So crawl out again. Oh, it's going to make some exciting viewing, seeing me crawl in and out of there. Phew. So I'm fabricating up this bracket, stainless bracket, that will bolt through the floor, the horizontal frame of the boat, and the engine bed or engine mount will bolt to that. So that means that the engine bed is also firmly bolted to the boat. At the aft end, similar thing at the forward end. And that fits underneath that diesel tank. The diesel tank itself will be raised up. Put that back. The diesel tank itself will be raised up a few inches so there'll be access to it. But that's all one big process. So I cut a big old hole in that bulkhead for the diesel tank to sit through, and I'm working on that now. an incredible mess. Yeah, and as you can imagine, probably cutting that hole in there, I tried to stand still to talk to you, cutting that hole in there made a mess of dust. So had a good old vacuum, good old clean up. It's looking fairly tidy now. And it's exciting to get in there and start on this. Sometimes you have amazing luck, don't you? I was in the basically Home Depot, the DIY store, whatever you want to call it, and looking, I needed a bit of dug fir because I just for in that Lazarette construction there, and I was, generally speaking, the dug fir they have in there is pretty poor quality. But these two, amongst a load of really poor quality posts, were these two. Look at that. Look at that, clean dug fir, straight grained, it's beautiful. I searched through the entire stock, there were two of them, but by jingos, they are lovely. Look at that, turn that one around there, look at it. That is a really lovely bit of dug fir. So, I bought the two. Can't turn down an opportunity like that, can you? Where that tank protrudes into the Lazarette, if you just look down into the Lazarette hatch, the tank comes in here, you see my hand probably. There'll be a plywood box in there, and that will be the start of the second level in the Lazarette. So that level will go all the way through, making a solid thick shelf in the Lazarette there. So it's good to be starting on that and getting on with it. Very pleasing. That's it, thanks for watching. All of that. Click the subscribe please, and see you next time. Bye.